we fight to gain what we cannot take with us. It's in our nature.
Hello there, Seraphim17 once again. This is my Assassin's Creed Syndicate 100% sync walkthrough. This is sequence 7, Unbreaking the Bank, and you can tell I'm a little impatient and wanting to get on with the level because I'm doing a kind of stupid spaz walk, which is probably not politically correct to call it that, but that's pretty much what it was. And I do this a lot. I'm so impatient at times, and other times I have really good patience. I'm a walking contradiction. It's wonderful, but whenever you have to follow the AI in this game, it's completely incompetent, so it takes them forever to do things. The best one is whenever you have to pick someone up in a carriage. It's like Ubisoft couldn't program the AI to get in the carriage and animate it, so they just teleport them in. But it takes them a good minute to think about doing it, so it just feels really janky, and I'm sorry guys, Crazy Taxi had that shit down years ago back on the Dreamcast. What is their excuse? I'm gonna kill a civ here right now, by the way. See that? Not even on his body at all, but I hit him and he died and I got told off. The good news is you don't have to do any of what I'm doing right now. If you follow this trio of people, the two heavies will leave and the guy will get on a carriage, and then you can get on the back of the carriage and just kind of ride it on, which is exactly what I'm going to do after I just murdered that poor spokesman person there. Okay. Oh, a lot of top hats in this time, you notice that? I wonder why we lost that. Because England is a cold country. It has its summers, and its summers are definitely migrating. But it also has a lot of times when it is quite cold, quite windy. So hat is an intelligent choice, and in these days, everybody had a hat. It was almost like a class system of its own. Hat, 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 hat. Look at them. They've all got hats. He hasn't got a hat. He's poor, but like, they had hats. It was a big thing. You know, you couldn't grow a beard, so you got a cool hat. Or you could grow a beard, because everybody seems to have mutton chops if you look at these dudes. But look at them, the hats are everywhere. And we lost it, and it's amazing, because you can go into these pubs where they'll have old-time photos on the wall, you know, from times like this, and they'll show you what the area looked like in the 1800s and shit, and what have you. And it looks amazing, like, you can see monuments that have survived today, but now they're next to like a little chef in a fucking Subway, but back then they were next to, you know, pig fights or something, I don't even know. But all of them in bowler hats. That's one of the best ways to age these photos is just bowler hats galore. And they're all wearing suits. Like, I wish we still lived in a time where everybody wore suits, because suits are beast. But nobody wears them unless you like work in an office or unless you're going to something quite fancy, because it's just not how it works. You know, tracksuits are the closest suit you'll get in this area, but every person in those photos, a beastly hat and a suit. You know, not a single woman to be found because they weren't allowed in pubs back then. But you know, just a weird time, but a cool time as well in some ways. Not in the whole having one bath a year and everybody dying of shit like scurvy and not knowing why, but it must have been a fascinating period to live in.
I didn't quite catch that.
Same with all the horses. Can you imagine how much horse shit there must have been? There's really not that much of a appreciation in this game for just how much horse shit there would be if there was this many horses on the roads. And they used to use the manure for fertilizer because it makes soil incredibly fertile. And I'm surprised you don't see kids in this game running into the streets and picking it up and stuff, because it was probably quite a commodity that was useful in these times. Horse manure. I have no idea if they understood the agricultural uses of it, or maybe they just like to throw it at posh people, I don't know. But there are a lot of really nice touches in this game, but some of them, there could be more, I think, and I think it's the touches that make it really nice. Like, I love the dudes who start winding that music machine, but I've only seen one of them, and I saw him after I beat the game. Like, I wish there was more of that guy, or I wish I had, you know, strayed into his territory more often. But I'm going to be killing people in this room. You don't have to, you can sneak in this building, but if you send one guy going nutty, he's going to clear the way for you, and it just makes a lot of sense to do that. The hallucinogenic darts are probably the most overpowered tool in the game. It's a shame you can't do the sleep ones, but I understand why you can't. But then again, have you noticed how you can't really do a decent knock people out move on this game? To kill somebody, it takes half a second. To knock somebody out, it takes 5 seconds. It doesn't make sense. It's not a trade-off you should ever really have to choose. Like, they should incentivize you not wanting to kill people. And I've seen a few reviews for this game that were saying that, you know, they felt bad about killing the police officers because they would have liked an option to knock them out that was a little bit, you know, easier to achieve. And I completely understand what they mean, minus the feeling bad, because I see police officers in this game as free ammo. I have no sympathy for them at all, because the amount of times where somebody's nicked my fucking carriage and I've brought them out and shot them in the face and then the coppers have started attacking me for stopping a thief, like, come on guys, that's not fair. Or the amount of times where it's kicked off and the police have come for me when I wasn't the one who initiated anything, but because of the way the game works, you know, they're going to prioritise you. So I murder police on sight, I don't even give a shit. Straight up. They can do the fucking running around with the whistles all they want, which is true, you know. Police in, I don't know if it was the same in other places, but the police in England at that time used to run around. I think at one point they even cycled, but they had a whistle and a truncheon. You see that? How beastly was that? That would have killed me, that, because you could tell the sound went completely to being just whistly, which tells you that you're at a height that's probably really going to hurt. And I don't have a lot of life, so that was probably going to kill me had I not landed on this carriage like a boss. But now that we've burnt the money as the side objective and stole the plate, we have to come back to the bank and put it back where it came from. And there's going to be an interesting edit here because I messed this up and the checkpoint was outside the bank. So I'm going to stab him there and then I'm going to magically warp to a sunny day stabbing him there. You see that? And then from here we're going to be climbing into the bank and putting the plates back. I like this mission because it's got a couple of parts to it. It's got a part that enables you to do some violence. It's got a part that enables you to do some stealth. You can really do a few different things. And having played the full game now and seen all the missions, I think some of the missions are really fun, but I think there's just not enough that are as fun as the really good ones. Like, we're at this point now where the only thing stopping these missions from being really amazing is imagination. But we're so trapped in this fecundity of just, we need an escort mission, we need a hostage mission, we need a protection mission, we need a steal this mission, we need a steal that mission, we need a sneak in here mission. Like, we've got to the point where the only reason that some of the missions are miss is because there wasn't enough love and interest put into them. Like, some of the missions so good, like the final mission before you fight the boss, which is utter dog shit, is really multi-layered and there's a lot of stuff happening and it feels important. There's stuff on fire. When things are on fire, folks, you know it's important. But there's no other moments in the game that are even remotely close to that, and when they are, it takes you out of it by fading the screen, and I just don't understand it. Like, there is one assassination that involves a burning theatre, which is a really interesting section, but none of the other assassinations really have the same level of impetus, and none of the other missions do either, so a lot of the times you really feel like you're just doing busy work for idiots, and I think that's a shame. And it culminates as well in this feature of, I don't really feel like the conflict between Evie and Jacob was ever progressed enough to make you truly think, well, why are they so angry with each other? Minus then a couple of sharp words, which every brother and sister have. I am part of that said dynamic, and the relationship with my sister has been so complicated over the years that it would probably make a better fucking story than this one, which is a shame because this is fiction, you know what I mean? And fiction should always strive to at least be a bit more interesting than the mundane, which is the everyday life. And I just... Same as the ending, you'll notice a lot of the reviewers are slagging off the ending. The only reason they're slagging the ending off is because it's the absence of an ending. There is no resolution, there is no conclusion, there is no, like, committing to anything. It's just... we win, everybody smile, and here's some bullshit future nonsense that you didn't care about when we showed it you several times throughout the game, because you haven't cared about it since the old games, and even then you didn't care because it was fucking dull. The only thing it had was the fact that it was slightly engrossing. There was a moment of intrigue, followed by just banality. But that is the end of the video, guys. Thank you for watching. You take care now.